They said I lost a year of memories. But the man I remembered vanished 5 years ago. And my fiancé, he was hiding something. When I opened my eyes, everything felt too bright. The ceiling above me was white, blinding white, and the beeping beside my head felt like thunder trapped in my skull. My mouth was dry, my body heavy. I tried to move, but pain rippled through me like a wave I couldn't swim against. There was a hand holding mine, warm, firm, trembling slightly. I turned my head slowly and saw a man sitting beside me. His eyes were tired, red around the edges, but the moment I blinked, relief flooded his face. "Maya," he whispered. "Thank God." He leaned closer, brushing a strand of hair from my forehead like he'd done it 1,000 times before. I didn't flinch, but something inside me twisted, because I didn't recognize him. "Who are you?" I asked softly. He froze. The smile on his face flickered for a second. Then he tried to cover it with something calm, something controlled. "It's me," he said gently. "Daniel, your fiancé." Fiancé. The word sounded foreign, like something I should have remembered but didn't. I blinked, trying to reach into the fog of my mind, searching for pieces of him, but all I saw was someone else. A different man. Messy brown hair, crooked smile, guitar always slung over his shoulder. Ryan. My college boyfriend. "Ryan," I whispered. The name slipped out before I could stop it. Daniel's expression changed. A flicker of something. Shock, maybe hurt, maybe something darker, crossed his face before he composed himself again. "You hit your head pretty hard," he said, voice soft but tight. "The doctor said memory loss is common after a concussion. You'll remember everything soon." But I didn't feel like I'd forgotten. I felt like I was stuck in a story that wasn't mine. Over the next few days, Daniel stayed by my side. He brought flowers, told me stories about our life together, showed me photos on his phone, pictures of us smiling, laughing, traveling. I looked like I was in love with him, but every image felt like a movie I'd never seen. I tried to force the memories to come back, but my mind refused. It clung stubbornly to the past, to Ryan, the way he laughed when I tripped over my own feet, the way he sang under his breath while studying, the way his eyes looked when he told me he loved me for the first time. But that was years ago. We'd broken up, hadn't we? Or at least, I thought we had. Still, every night I closed my eyes, I saw Ryan's face instead of Daniel's. And every morning, I woke up feeling guilty for remembering the wrong man. But the worst part came a week later, when I finally asked Daniel the question that had been haunting me. What happened to Ryan? He looked up from his coffee, his jaw tightening just slightly. "Ryan?" he repeated slowly, as if tasting the name. I nodded. "My ex, from college. Do you know where he is?" Daniel stared at me for a long, quiet moment before he said, in a voice I almost didn't recognize, "No, Maya, you shouldn't be thinking about him anymore. If you woke up remembering only your ex instead of your fiancé, would you tell the truth or pretend until your memory returned?" After I was discharged from the hospital, Daniel drove me home. The Chicago suburbs looked familiar but strange, like a dream I half remembered. Rows of brick houses, yellow leaves scattered across driveways, the smell of wet pavement after rain. My head ached every time I tried to connect the pieces. When we reached the house, Daniel smiled like he was bringing me back to something sacred. "Home," he said softly. It was a 2-story house with white shutters and a small porch. Beautiful, quiet, perfect, but it didn't feel like mine. Inside, everything was tidy, minimal, spotless. Family photos on the wall, wedding magazines stacked neatly on the coffee table, candles that smelled faintly of vanilla and lavender. He helped me upstairs to the bedroom. There were 2 pillows, 2 toothbrushes, 2 lives woven together. Yet I felt like an intruder. "Does any of this look familiar?" he asked carefully. I scanned the room. My clothes hung neatly in the closet. There was a framed picture of me and Daniel on the nightstand. Me wearing a blue dress, him in a gray suit. We were smiling. My eyes looked happy. But the girl in that photo didn't feel like me. She looked rehearsed. "I guess," I said, forcing a weak smile. Daniel sighed in quiet relief. "You'll remember more with time." He made dinner that night, pasta with red sauce and garlic bread. He told me it was my favorite. But when I took a bite, it felt wrong. I didn't remember ever liking pasta this much. I remembered coffee dates, old vinyl records, late-night pizza in Ryan's apartment while he played guitar. "Daniel," I said quietly, "how long have we been together?" He looked up from his plate. 3 years. Engaged for 3 years. That meant I met him long after Ryan and I broke up. So why did my brain erase everything in between? When I went to bed that night, I couldn't sleep. I got up and wandered to the small study at the end of the hall. The walls were lined with books and framed certificates with Daniel's name. On the desk, a stack of photos. Printed ones, not digital. I flipped through them slowly. Vacation pictures, family gatherings, me and Daniel in matching sweaters. Then one photo slipped out from the pile. It wasn't framed, just tucked behind another. It showed me standing by Lake Michigan. But next to me wasn't Daniel. It was Ryan. I froze. He was smiling at me, arm around my shoulder, sunlight in his hair. It wasn't a dream. It was real. The date on the back said 5 years ago. My heart thudded. If Ryan and I were over, why was his photo here? Why did Daniel have it? Just then, I heard footsteps behind me. I turned, startled, the photo still in my hand. Daniel stood in the doorway, his face calm but his eyes sharp. "What are you doing in here?" he asked softly. I stammered. I couldn't sleep. "I just found this." I held out the picture. He stared at it for a moment, then took it gently from my hand. "Old memories," he said. "You don't need those anymore." Then he smiled. The kind of smile that's too careful to be kind. Would you keep searching for the truth or trust the person who says they love you, even if something feels wrong? The next morning, Daniel was gone before I woke up. A note on the kitchen counter said he'd gone to work and would be back by 6. He'd drawn a small heart next to his name. I stared at the note for a long time. Something about it felt rehearsed, like everything else in this house. The picture of Ryan still haunted me. His smile, his warmth, the way my body had recognized him instantly when my mind had not. So I did something I probably shouldn't have. I opened Daniel's laptop. I told myself it was innocent curiosity, that I was just looking for clues about my own life. But deep down, I wanted to find Ryan. I wanted to know why his photo was hidden in our home. I searched his name, Ryan Carter. No recent posts, no social media activity for almost 4 years. It was like he'd vanished. I tried Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, nothing. The last trace of him was a tagged photo from a mutual friend at a college reunion. Then, nothing. My chest tightened. I remember the way he used to say, if I ever disappear, it'll be to start over somewhere better. Had he actually done that? I decided to call my old roommate, Claire. She'd known Ryan well. I hadn't spoken to her in years, but when she answered, her voice trembled like she'd seen a ghost. Maya? Oh my God, you're okay? I think so, I said quietly. Claire, I need to ask you something. Do you remember Ryan Carter? Silence. Then softly, of course I do. Why? I can't remember much after college. I keep thinking about him. I just need to know if he's okay. Another pause. Longer this time. I could hear her breathing, uneven, hesitant. Maya, she said slowly, you shouldn't be looking for him. Why not? Because he's gone. What do you mean gone? I whispered. After you two broke up, things got bad for him. He stopped coming around, stopped answering messages. Then one day his apartment was empty. No forwarding address, no contact, nothing. People said he moved out of state, but honestly, no one really knows. I pressed my hand to my chest. Did Daniel know him? Her voice tightened. Why are you asking that? Because Daniel had a photo of me and Ryan. In his office. He said it was just an old memory. Claire went silent again. Then she said, almost a whisper, Maya, before you got engaged, didn't Daniel tell you he'd known you back in college? I froze. No, he never mentioned that. She exhaled shakily. I think you should be careful. Before I could ask what she meant, the call cut off. The screen went black. I tried calling back, but her number was suddenly disconnected. A cold shiver crawled up my spine. When Daniel came home that evening, he brought dinner and flowers again, like nothing had changed. But when I looked at him across the table, smiling so easily, I couldn't stop wondering, who exactly was this man who said he loved me? And what did he know about the man I couldn't stop remembering? Would you confront your fiancé after finding proof that he knew your ex? Or would you keep pretending until you knew more? That night, I couldn't sleep. Daniel's breathing beside me was calm, steady, almost mechanical, like a rhythm I wasn't part of anymore. I stared at the ceiling, the soft glow of the city bleeding through the blinds. My mind replayed Claire's words on a loop. You shouldn't be looking for him. He's gone. Be careful. But careful of who? I slipped out of bed, my bare feet cold against the floor. I went to the living room and opened one of the boxes the hospital had sent home with me. Inside were personal items recovered from the crash, a smashed phone, a broken necklace, and a small notebook with my initials, MC. The pages smelled faintly of perfume and dust. I flipped through it. Most pages were empty. But near the back, I found something scribbled in shaky handwriting. If anything happens, find Ryan. He knows the truth. My fingers went numb. I stared at the words, my own handwriting looping across the paper like a message sent from another life. What truth? Just then, the hallway light flickered on. Daniel stood there, shirtless, his expression unreadable. What are you doing up? He asked quietly. I quickly shut the notebook. Couldn't sleep. He stepped closer, his eyes drifting to my hands. What's that? Just my journal, I said, forcing a smile. He hesitated for a moment, then his lips curved slightly, but not in the way that reached his eyes. You know, maybe it's best if you don't dig too much into the past, he said gently. Doctors said memory gaps can get worse if you force them. I just want to remember, I said. I know, he whispered, brushing a strand of hair behind my ear. But remember, the accident changed everything. You're lucky to be alive. Don't lose sight of what you have now. He kissed my forehead and turned off the light, going back to bed. But I couldn't move. The words from my notebook burned in my mind. Find Ryan. He knows the truth. By morning, I'd made up my mind. If no one would tell me who Ryan was or what happened to him, I'd find out myself. I searched through old boxes, mail, drawers. That's when I found something tucked behind a stack of bills. A sealed envelope with my name written in bold black ink. No stamp, no sender. Just one line on the back. You were never supposed to remember. My pulse pounded as I tore it open. Inside was a folded photo. Me and Ryan again. But this time, he looked older. His eyes darker, more tired. And on the bottom of the photo, scrawled in ink, don't trust him. If you found a hidden photo warning you not to trust the person you live with, would you confront them? Or pretend you hadn't seen it? The morning after I found the photo felt heavy like the air before a storm. Daniel left early for work, pressing a soft kiss on my cheek. His cologne lingered long after the door shut behind him, and the silence that followed felt almost watchful. I sat at the kitchen counter staring at the photo again. Ryan's eyes looked so real, so full of something. Fear, maybe? Or warning? The words beneath it, don't trust him, made my stomach twist. I decided to check my phone, the old one that had survived the crash but barely. The screen was shattered, but it still powered on with a low battery flicker. I scrolled through old contacts. There were hundreds of names, but not one single Ryan. It was like he'd been erased. I tried searching my emails next. Nothing. No messages, no photos, no mentions. Every trace of him had vanished like someone scrubbed him out of my life completely. Then I noticed a hidden folder buried under archives. Inside were just 3 emails, all sent years ago, all from an address named R. Holloway. My heart raced as I clicked the first one. Maya, if you're reading this, something's gone wrong. Don't tell Daniel. He can't know about me. About us. The second one was shorter. He's watching. Please stay quiet until I find you. And the third, dated only 2 days before my accident. Meet me at the lake before it's too late. The email had a time and a location, but no explanation, just urgency. I read them again and again, trying to make sense of it, when suddenly, the phone buzzed. A notification popped up. Unknown number. Stop digging, Maya. I dropped the phone. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. Someone knew what I was doing. Someone was watching. The next few hours felt like a blur. I couldn't call anyone, couldn't trust anyone, not even Claire. Every face, every message, every memory felt like it had a shadow behind it. By afternoon, I made my decision. I took the car keys from the hook and drove straight to the address Ryan had mentioned, the lake. It was quiet there, the kind of silence that presses against your skin. The water shimmered under the sun, calm and cruel at the same time, and then I saw it, a bench facing the lake. Carved into the wood were two letters, faint but clear enough to see, M+R. I traced them with my fingers and whispered, Ryan. A voice behind me said softly, you shouldn't have come here. I turned, and standing by the trees was Claire. What would you do if your best friend suddenly appeared at the very spot your missing ex once told you to meet him? For a moment, I couldn't breathe. Claire stood there, her expression unreadable, hands tucked into her jacket like she'd been waiting for me. Claire, what are you doing here? I asked, my voice trembling. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she looked past me, at the bench, at the letters M+R carved into the wood. Her eyes softened for a second, like she was remembering something she wished she could forget. You found this place, she finally said quietly. You weren't supposed to. That one sentence made every hair on my body stand up. Supposed to? I whispered. Claire, what are you talking about? You knew about this place? She sighed and stepped closer. Maya, you need to stop chasing ghosts. Ryan's gone. He's been gone for years. I took a step back. How do you know that? Because I was here the day he left. Her words hit me like a slap. I stared at her, trying to piece together the impossible puzzle inside my mind. You were here? When he… Yes, she interrupted softly. He wanted to tell you something that night, but you never showed up. He waited for hours, and when he left, Daniel was already here. My breath caught. Daniel? She nodded slowly. He came to find Ryan. They talked. I don't know what happened after that, but the next day, Ryan disappeared. And then, you stopped asking about him. You moved on. You started dating Daniel. Her voice cracked slightly at the end, like she wasn't sure if she believed her own words. I shook my head. No, that doesn't make sense. I would have remembered something like that. I would have known Claire's eyes filled with sympathy or guilt. I couldn't tell. You did know, Maya. You just forgot. Or maybe someone made you forget. My hands were shaking now. The world felt tilted. Wrong. Why are you telling me this now? Because, she said, glancing over her shoulder toward the road, I think he's watching you again. Before I could ask who she meant, I saw movement behind the trees. A tall figure in a dark jacket, standing perfectly still, just far enough that I couldn't see the face. Claire's hand gripped mine. We have to go. Now I hesitated, staring at the figure. Something deep in me screamed to stay, to find out who it was. But fear won. We ran to my car, gravel crunching under our feet, hearts pounding like thunder. When I turned the key, the engine roared, and that's when I saw it. A note was stuck to the windshield. In neat handwriting, it said, Stop remembering, Maya. It's safer that way. If you found out your fiancé might have erased someone from your past, would you confront him and so pretend you never knew? That note haunted me the entire drive home. Stop remembering, Maya. The words replayed in my head like a broken song, each echo cutting deeper. Claire sat beside me, quiet, staring out the window. Her fingers fidgeted with the hem of her sleeve. I could tell she wanted to say something, but she didn't. Not until we pulled into my driveway. You need to be careful, she whispered. Daniel isn't who you think he is. I turned to her, my throat tight. Then who is he, Claire? She hesitated, then said something I never expected. Before you met him, Daniel worked for a private research firm. They specialized in memory reconstruction. My breath caught. What does that mean? It means, she said, they could manipulate memories. Remove them. Replace them. Control what you remember and what you don't. The air felt thick. My pulse quickened. Are you saying he did that to me? Claire looked at me like she wanted to deny it, but couldn't. After your accident, he insisted on handling your recovery himself. He said the hospital records got lost. No one ever saw your medical files again. I wanted to scream, but all I could do was whisper, where are they? She reached into her bag and pulled out a small flash drive. I found this at the old clinic where you were treated. It's labeled with your name. I didn't open it. I thought you should. My hands shook as I took it. After she left, I sat in front of my laptop staring at the drive. I didn't want to open it. Every instinct told me to walk away, but curiosity is a dangerous thing, and love is even worse. I plugged it in. The screen flickered, then loaded a single folder titled Patient M. Reyes, Case 174. Inside were dozens of audio logs, dated around the time of my accident. The first one began with a voice I knew too well. Daniel. Session 5. Subject shows increasing confusion between real and false memories. Target memory of Ryan Holloway remains intact despite previous attempts at suppression. My stomach dropped. He continued, his tone clinical, emotionless. Further intervention required. She keeps asking about him, recommending a deeper reconstruction cycle post-coma. I paused the recording, covering my mouth. Tears blurred my vision. My fiancé, the man I trusted, had been experimenting on me. I clicked another file. This time it wasn't Daniel's voice. It was mine. Please don't take him from me. Please don't. I love him. And then Daniel's voice again, calm and cold. You'll thank me one day. The room started spinning. I yanked the flash drive out and threw it across the floor. My breath came out in shaky bursts. I had to leave. I had to get out before he came home. But as I reached for my coat, the door clicked open. Daniel stood there, smiling softly. Hey, love. You're up late. Behind his smile, I saw something I hadn't before. Control. Possession. If you discovered proof that your fiancé had tampered with your memories, would you stay silent to stay safe, or risk everything to uncover the truth? Daniel stepped inside, closing the door behind him with that calm, deliberate motion I once found comforting. Now it felt suffocating. He looked at me, then at the laptop, then at the flash drive lying on the floor. Where did you get that? He asked softly. My mouth went dry. What is it? He didn't answer right away. He just smiled the way people do when they're calculating what to say next. Then he said, You shouldn't be digging into things you don't remember for a reason. My pulse thundered in my ears. You made me forget, didn't you? He sighed, walking closer. Maya, you were falling apart after that crash. You couldn't sleep. You couldn't eat. You wouldn't stop screaming his name. I did what I had to do. You took him from me, I whispered. I saved you. The words hit me like ice. I stepped back, but he followed, calm and certain. Ryan wasn't good for you. He dragged you into things you couldn't understand, dangerous things. What things? Daniel hesitated, then said quietly, he wasn't just your boyfriend. He was part of something bigger, an investigation. He was using you to get to me. I froze. That's not true. He gave a slow half smile. Then why do you think he vanished? The silence between us thickened, heavy with unspoken truths. I wanted to believe him. Part of me still did. But the sound of my voice from those recordings kept echoing in my mind. Please don't take him from me. I said, tell me the truth about that night. Daniel's eyes darkened. You were driving to meet him. He called you, begged you to come to the lake. You were upset, distracted. You didn't see the truck coming. My hands trembled. But I wasn't driving. The police said. The police only know what I told them. For a moment, everything inside me shattered. I stared at him, my voice barely a whisper. You caused the accident. He didn't deny it. Tears filled my eyes, blurring his face into something monstrous. You destroyed my life, I said. He reached out, but I stepped back. Maya, you have to understand. I did it for us. You were leaving me for him. You were going to ruin everything. His voice cracked slightly, almost like he believed his own madness. I couldn't let that happen. I grabbed my keys and ran before he could stop me. The cold night air hit my face as I stumbled into the car, my heart pounding. I didn't even know where I was driving, and I just knew I had to get away. The rain started again, hard and relentless, blurring the road ahead. And through the fog on my windshield, I thought I saw someone standing on the shoulder. A man. He turned as I slowed down, his face pale under the streetlight. It was Ryan. If you saw the man everyone told you was gone, would you stop the car to find out if he's real or drive away and pretend you never saw him? The rain blurred everything, turning the world into streaks of silver and shadow. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly they hurt, but I couldn't look away from the man standing by the road. The headlights caught his face, and my heart stopped. It was him, Ryan. I slammed the brakes and the tires screeched, sliding slightly on the wet asphalt. I jumped out of the car, rain soaking through my clothes, every breath trembling. Ryan! I screamed. He didn't move at first, just watched me, eyes wide, cautious, like he wasn't sure if I was real. Then he said, voice low, you shouldn't be here. I froze. You're alive. Everyone said you were gone. I had to be, he said. Daniel would have killed me if I stayed. His words cut through the storm like lightning. I took a shaky step closer. What happened? Why did he do this to us? He glanced around nervously, then said, he wasn't just your fiancé, Maya. He worked for the same company I was investigating, the one doing memory reconstruction. They were erasing people, rewriting lives. And when I found out what he'd done to you, he came after me. My throat tightened. You tried to warn me. He nodded slowly, but I was too late. I remembered the last email. Meet me at the lake before it's too late. Why didn't you tell me the truth? I asked, tears mixing with the rain. He looked down. I thought I could protect you by disappearing. I didn't know he'd rewrite you. The words hit like a punch. I stepped closer until we were inches apart, the rain falling between us like a curtain. His eyes, they were the same, warm, aching, real. Ryan, I whispered, I remember you now. He smiled faintly, just once. Then you remember what we promised each other. Before I could speak, headlights flared behind me and blinding, bright. A car pulled up fast, stopping just a few feet away. Daniel. He stepped out slowly, the rain soaking through his shirt, his face calm, but his eyes burning. Get away from him, Maya. Ryan moved slightly in front of me, protective. You don't get to control her anymore. Daniel laughed softly. You think she's yours? You're a ghost. You died the moment she forgot you. Then why does she remember now? Ryan said quietly. The silence that followed was deafening. Daniel's expression flickered. Confusion, anger, then something like fear. Because the mind doesn't stay erased forever, Ryan said. You can bury love under 1,000 lies, but it finds its way back. Daniel's jaw tightened. You don't understand what she's capable of remembering. What do you mean? I asked. He looked at me, almost tender now. You think I changed your memories, Maya? You asked me to? The rain fell harder. My pulse stopped. That's not true. He smiled sadly. You begged me to take the pain away. You didn't want to remember what really happened that night. Ryan turned to me slowly. What is he talking about? Daniel whispered. Tell him what you did. If you were Maya and both men claimed to have protected you from the truth, who would you believe? The one who vanished or the one who stayed? The world seemed to stop. The rain, the wind, the sound of my heartbeat. Everything went silent except for Daniel's voice echoing through the storm. Tell him what you did, Maya. My throat tightened. My mind spun. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do, he said softly. You just don't want to remember. Ryan stepped forward, anger flashing in his eyes. Stop manipulating her. But Daniel didn't even look at him. His eyes stayed locked on me. The accident wasn't my fault, Maya. It was yours. My chest constricted. No, I wasn't driving. Yes, you were, Daniel said quietly. You called Ryan that night. You told him to meet you at the lake because you found out he'd been lying to you. He was using you to get information about the company. He didn't love you, Maya. Not at first. Ryan's voice broke through, desperate. That's not true. Then tell her, Daniel said, voice steady and sharp. Tell her why you were really with her. Ryan opened his mouth, but nothing came out, and that silence said more than words ever could. I felt the ground tilt beneath me. My memories came flooding back, fragments of that night returning in jagged flashes. Ryan shouting on the phone, me crying, driving too fast, headlights blinding me, the crash, Daniel's voice whispering my name as everything faded to black. I staggered backward. Stop. Just stop. Both men stepped closer, one pleading, one coldly calm, their voices colliding until I couldn't tell which truth belonged to whom. I loved you, Maya, Ryan said. Maybe it started as something else, but it became real. I swear it did. Daniel's tone softened. And I saved you from that pain. I took it away because you asked me to. The world around me blurred. Two versions of love, two versions of truth. One built on lies, one built on control. Maybe both were wrong, maybe both were right. I took a deep breath and said, you both stole something from me. My choice. My truth. Ryan reached for my hand. Then take it back. Daniel stepped closer. If you do, everything will come back. The pain, the guilt, the memories you buried. I'd rather feel everything than live inside a lie, I whispered. I turned toward the car, my hand trembling as I opened the door. Neither of them tried to stop me this time. As I drove away, the rain finally began to fade. The city light shimmered ahead like fragments of a life waiting to be rebuilt. I didn't know which version of the past was real, only that from now on, the future would be mine. When I reached the edge of town, I pulled over and looked at my reflection in the mirror. For the first time in years, I didn't see confusion. I saw freedom. And somewhere deep inside my mind, a faint voice, maybe Ryan's, maybe my own, whispered, "Now, remember everything." If you could erase one painful memory to move on, would you do it, or would you choose to remember every scar that made you who you are?